All right, so we have a couple of word problems, and it's going to be pretty simple, guys, because you're gonna be reading exactly what you have. It says Mrs. Lang told her class that the class pet hamster is 1/4 foot in length. I want to know what it is in inches. So I'm going to take feet, and I'm going to convert it into inches, and I know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. Okay, so first what I want to do is I want to take that 1/4 and I want to multiply it by 1 foot. Okay, but then I'm going to take that 1/4 and I'm going to multiply it by that 12 inches. Okay, so when I look at this, guys, this is basically saying 1 times 12 is 12, 4 times 1 is 4. So this is actually going to equal 12/4 of an inch. But remember, we don't want to keep it that way. So how many inches would that be? 12 divided by 4 is 3 inches long. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so number 3 has 4 different letters to it. Do not be overwhelmed by this because it is just kind of taking some of this information. It says, at the market, Mr. Paul bought 7/8 pound of cashews and 3/4 pounds of walnuts. Ooh, I see ounces. So I'm going to convert these into ounces. So I know that 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Okay, and I know that from my conversion chart, or some of you guys might automatically already know that, and that's completely fine. So the first thing is I want to know the cashews. It's 7/8 of a pound. So I want to take 7/8 and I want to multiply it by 1 pound. Okay, which then I'm going to take that 7/8 and I'm going to multiply it by that 16 ounces. Okay, now when I do this, guys, I can't do 7 divided by 8, but you know what, guys? I can do 16 divided by 8, that I can get rid of that. I know 16 divided by 8 is going to be 2. So when I solve this, I get 7 times 2 is 14 ounces. Okay, so the cashews is 14 ounces. Next, I want to know the walnuts. He bought 3/4 of a pound. Okay, I'm going to separate that 3/4 times 1 pound. Then I'm going to get 3/4, and now I'm going to replace it with my 16 ounces. Can't do 3 divided by 4, but I can do 16 divided by 4. 16 divided by 4 is going to give me 4. 3 times 4 is 12 ounces. Okay, so how many more ounces of cashews than walnuts did he buy? So when I look at this, I've got 14 ounces and 12 ounces. What would be the difference? Well, 14 minus 12 is going to be 2 ounces. Okay, so then so that's pretty simple, guys. Done with that. See, I told you guys, these problems are not that hard. It says, if Mrs. Toombs bought 1.5 pounds of pistachios, who bought more nuts? Mr. Paul or Mrs. Toombs? And then I want to know by how many more ounces. So we do have to do a couple problems. First of all, we probably need to figure out how many pounds Mr. Paul bought in all. So I'm going to take this 7/8 and I'm going to add 3/4. Okay, and common denominator is going to be 8, so I'm going to multiply this by 2. And now I've got 7/8 plus 3 times 2 is 6/8 equals 7 plus 6 is going to be 13/8. Okay, so I want to convert that. So 13 divided by 8 goes in 1 time, minus 8, 5/8. So 1 5/8, or 1.5 pound. So who bought more? Mr. Paul. So Mr. Paul, this is Mr. Paul, bought 1 5/8, or is it Mrs. Toombs? Okay, well, who bought more nuts? It would be Mr. Paul. And the reason why it is Mr. Paul is because half of 8 would be 4. So he bought more than a little bit over a half. So I know how many ounces he has bought. If I add these two together, he has bought 14 plus 12 is 26 ounces. So this also equals 26 ounces. And how I got that was I just added these two up. Now, Mrs. Toombs, I need to know how many ounces. Now, remember that 1 pound is 16 ounces, And a half a pound is going to be half of that 16, which is 8. So what is 16 plus 8? So let's see here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. She only bought 24 ounces. So how many ounces difference is it? Well, it is 2 ounce difference. Okay, so Mr. Paul bought more nuts, and by how many more ounces? By 2 ounces. Okay. Last problem. It says a jewelry maker purchased 20 inches of gold chain. She used 3/8 of the chain for a bracelet. How many inches did she have left? Well, here's something we can do. We can actually do a bar diagram if we want to. I know that this is 20 inches. She had 3/8 for the bracelet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And she used this 3/8. So she used this part of it. So I want to know how much that is. Now, when you think about it, you're like, well, 20 can't go evenly and kind of nicely into 20. So probably, guys, what I would do is I would do 20 times 3/8. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and multiply across. I'm going to have 60 eighths. And when I do this, I'm going to do 60 divided by 8. 8 goes into 60. Let's see here. 8 goes into 60. How many times? Wait, hold on. Let me backtrack just a little bit on this, guys. Sorry. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take this. If I'm going to have 20 and I want to divide it into 8, so let's do it this way. This is going to be a lot easier. So if I know that 20, I'm going to divide that into 8. I want to figure out how many is going to go into each part. This is going to be a lot easier than doing it that way. So 8 goes into 22 minus 16, 4 8. If I simplify that, I can divide both of them by 4, so I'm going to get 2 1/2. So I know that each of these sections is going to be 2 1/2. Okay, so I want to know how much does she have left. So she has used 2 plus 2 plus 2, and then half plus half plus half. So I've got 2, 4, 6. This makes a whole, so there's 7. So 7 1/2 is what she used. But how much did she have left? Well, she's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we've got 10. And then how many halves do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 halves. So it's 10 5 halves. But when I look at that 5 halves, 5 divided by 2, that actually equals 2 1/2. So this is going to, when I convert that, it's going to equal 12 1/2 is what she has left. Okay, now doing the other way, we would have solved this and then you would have had to subtract to figure out how much we would have had left.